very, very sunny and warm and hot United Kingdom to the brand new episode of Falling Upwards. We're back. Maddie's back. We're live. It's not a highlight reel. We're thrilled to be having all of our lovely listeners back with us, and we're thrilled to have you here, Maddie Armstrong, my dear co-host.
Woo! Hi, MA.
Yay.
MA Kwan, my dear co-host, who gets to say her name in half of the episodes. I'm glad to be back.
When we tapped into the room today, I was like, Maddie, it feels like it's been 500 years since I spoke to you.
Did you say like 5 million years or something?
Yeah, it's been ages.
Same amount of time. UK, what's going on? When I was in Korea, I checked the weather forecast, like the temperature in my town. It was 7 degrees, cold, yeah. And then when I come back, it's 30. It's been a week. How do you get from 7 to 30 in a week? I can't do this heat.
It's 31 where you are, right? Up north.
Yeah, it's hot all over the country, man.
31 there, 32 here. It's just warm.
Yeah.
The UK is not built for warmth.
These thick brick walls are meant to keep in the heat, but what do we do when there's too much heat?
I was at Comic-Con last weekend, and both my friend and I were like, because we were just in like t-shirts and shorts. I don't really dress up for it, but you know, people in full outfits, I was like, oof, to be doing it in this heat, I feel sorry for you.
You need an aircon unit inside the outfit, I think. Like a astronaut suit.
But you know someone who is shining no matter what? It's the lovely guest we have on the lawn today. We have pianist and artist Belle Chen. Let me do my little intro, and then of course our music maestro Maddie Armstrong will take us a little bit deeper. She is a pianist determined to take you on a sonic journey that blends the cinematic with the utterly transportive. Her work drifts between neoclassical composition, ambient electronics, and improvisation, creating performances that feel less like recitals and more like just soaking into a dream. Over the last few years, she's quietly become one of the most interesting names in experimental classical music, earning a nomination for the Australian Music Prize in 2020, winning the London Music Awards Classical Rising Star, whilst also being named one of BBC's Introducing Classical's top 4 best new music artists. She's performed around the world, and her recent releases, including Closer and the single Breezy, continue to push her sound into new territory ahead of the next chapter of her work. And she's just finished an international tour. So we're absolutely thrilled to have her. Please welcome the brilliant Belle Chen.
Woo!
Music maestro Maddie, tell us more.
Okay, so neoclassical is definitely the word. She's fantastically talented in the piano, but she has her own little sprinkling into it. 2 particular favorites of mine are Passages of Time from Revel in the Forest and 3 Bears, specifically the live version from one of her recent albums. It's a very fascinating composition. It starts off very mellow. We've got some synth in there, some more electronic-y sounds, but she's dancing on the keys in the higher end. And it's a really beautiful piece that takes you on a journey of lots of different feelings, and you can kind of make of it what you like because it breeds so much imagination. Her pieces are very imaginative, very inspired, and very magical.
For first-time listeners, Maddie is our Queen Emperor of Failures. We get our lovely guests to contribute failures and things they wish they'd failed at, but we also bring you failures from the news. Maddie adjudicates whether she thinks they're a fail, whether successful, or whether they're just mid. And Belle has recorded a lovely little failure for you today.
Woo!
Would you like to give it in?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I talk about this quite a bit in my live shows, actually. So, you know, I spent a lot of my 20s quite lost, running away from things that scared me, so things I did not want to confront. And I ran away from these things with such force that it was like, sometimes, you know, you need to go into the depth of darkness completely to come back up. So it's one of these moments, but instead of like happening over a couple months. It happened over like the span of a decade. Like it was really long. And I remember at the end of it, I'm like, oh, I feel like I've wasted so much time just like dealing with this like kind of like internal kind of blockage that I have for myself. And then I remember thinking, is it too late for me to pick myself up again and come out as an artist with something to say? And I almost disappeared. I almost didn't come out, but I came back and I'm like, no, no, no. You know, I'm who I am. I create the work that I do. And by stepping into the limelight and by trusting my own voice and what I have to say, it's actually better in all sorts of ways. In terms of I don't know how to say it in a concise way because I'm still kind of like living it, I guess. It would enable the audience to see me for who I am instead of who I think I should be.
Especially for a lot of people going into their 30s, that's such a resonant message that I hear with friends and people that have been through it, you know, older than me, where they're all like, your 20s are a mess and can be a mess, and it's all right that it's a mess. And it's how once you kind of pass that hurdle, you put it so beautifully, you know, you pick yourself up and you find a way to reach who you actually are, not who you want to be. That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Or who like just all that baggage that comes with like
Right.
who you think you should be. That's kind of like it's actually not a voice that you own, but it's like something you grew up with, but it's not yours. I don't know, but yeah. So that's been interesting.
I mean, you can run away from yourself without even realizing it, can't you? Humans are so deep. We, you know, they call it like the treacherous person of the heart. You know, there's a part of you that you don't even realize is there. You're not even aware of because your true, I guess, soul goes so far down that you can't even reach it yourself. I find in most cases we don't even know ourselves fully unless we spend a PhD's worth of time and effort into trying to understand ourselves. When I was going through her work, I definitely saw an evolution or heard an evolution. And it's not just sonically, it's of the person that creates such a elegant growth and contrast. So I'm proud of her for that. It was a beautiful failure.
How would you like to categorize it, Mads?
Oh, I'm celebrating.
Yay! It's too hot to dance.
I know, I don't want to lift my arm. I'll be 1 degree too hot.
It's too hot. Well, she's also done something that she wished she'd failed at for you as well. So would you like to give it a listen, Queen Emperor?
Let's hear it.
So many things. I feel on so many things. I would not be able to singularly tell you one that stood out because there's just been so many. I don't know. Like I feel like if we're really dissecting it, I think in classical music, like I was never like a prodigy to start with. So I was doing competitions, but constantly not being like the winner, like the prize winner.
Right.
And so that's been interesting because it taught me resilience and it actually taught me to think outside the box in order to be noticed as well. So that's led to my character today and my body of work as well. And I remember starting out when I first made my very first EP. My musical language changed quite a bit. I remember taking it around and just be constantly like shut down. And that taught me also resilience actually, but also thinking from the other people's perspective in terms of the industry, like what am I lacking that I can improve on to increase my chances of being seen and supported. I guess with one positive thing that you see about me on social media or the news, there's probably like 20 or 30 or 40 stuff that didn't go well that you just don't hear about that because I don't share it. Maybe I should share it because it's normal. It's a normal process.
Especially in the classical music industry, that's so interesting to hear because sometimes, and I saw this with my peers and I definitely felt this with myself, sometimes when you see especially kids when they're, breakout prodigies and things like that, by the time they hit their teens or their 20s, the burnout's so real because of the
Oh,
amount of pressure that's been put on them.
yeah.
And I suppose in some ways you failing in that sense by not being there has, like you said, it's enabled you to have that stamina to keep going in a
Yeah.
way that, younger artists sometimes struggle with.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I've witnessed that as well in my peers. Like, I think things happen for people at different points in their life. Like, not
Right.
everyone
Mm.
experiences the same journey, even if you're in the same class, the same school, the
Mm.
same teachers, or the same background.
Mm.
Um, and I keep that in mind because I see a lot. I learn a lot from people both younger than me and older than me.
Mm.
Because, like, well, first of all, success is different by definition for everyone because I think
Mm.
everyone wants different things. So to start with, it's important to identify what you want for yourself, which I guess is
Mm.
what I was talking about in my 20s. I wasn't quite clear on that, but now I am. I know why I'm doing this.
Mm.
And then second of all is that it can come and then it can go, or it can come and it can stay, or it can not
Right.
come for a very long time and then suddenly come and then stay.
Mm.
And I just feel like sometimes you can go in with all your intention, but you can't control the timing of things. So as
Right.
artists, I feel from myself, my own experience, and from looking at other people and talking to other people with more experience,
Mm.
that it's better just keep grounded and remember why, why you're creating and why you're in music and why you're creating music and what brings you
Mm.
joy, and just keep
Mm.
going at it and allowing things to unfold as they do.
I think Belle's words are better left untainted by my commentary. I would rather just leave them there for our listeners rather than try and add my own touches because she said it all really.
I hope, especially with social media pushing kind of youth and perfection more and more and more. And I guess this is why we do the pod, right? To be like, it's okay to fail and it's okay for your pod to not be straight. And here are all the amazing people in the world who have definitely not had a straight path to get to where they are. Sometimes we get guests that dodge questions about failure a little bit. And I hope what Belle said kind of brings you comfort, listeners. If you're whatever career you're in, if you're like, I'm not getting there fast enough, or I keep making mistakes, or the people around me are hitting it big and I'm not hitting it big, and why am I not okay?
Mm.
I hope her words bring you comfort.
And no matter how old you are or young.
Are we giving this a woo, Maddie?
Yeah, totally. Wowza.
Woo. No, still too hot to dance.
I could give one finger.
Well, of course, Belle takes us a little more into her music. So, are you up for giving her thoughts a bit more of a listen?
Absolutely. Let's go in.
So, Breezy, this next single that's coming up, it's a very special one for me because I wrote it in the depth of winter in London and it was really dark, super depressing. Lots of cloud, not a lot of sun, and I was trying to imagine or think back to the memory of summer and the feeling of summer, the feeling of wind against the skin, of that warmth and of being carefree. And so that piece came out from that kind of real need to reconnect with a more positive light of life.
Right.
And that, like, in itself is such a different kind of direction to my previous album, which is all about kind of sitting with yourself in the forest and digging inward. This one is kind of has more of a sense of creating and changing, making these changes and angles of how you see daily life, which will impact how you feel.
How did you then put the piece together? Can you take us through that full creative process for you?
Yeah, so for me, I guess I work through improvisation. So the very first thing I do is I sit down and I encapture the feeling, like emotion I want to create. And for this particular piece, it's all about moving forward and kind of searching for that something that is like the sun, the warmth in life. And so there's this persistent kind of rhythm that happens in the piano And as the track goes along, it very intuitively like unfolds, and then you'll hear like synthesizers, cello kind of stacked on, and it comes from like it begins almost like a tunnel vision, that very singular, but it ends in a place that's quite cinematic and quite open. Yeah, so it's how I went a lot about to composing this.
Why the synthesizer? I've listened back to it, I want to say about 4 or 5 times at this point, and it's such a lush piece. I think so many people are going to find comfort from listening to it, and the moment that synthesizer kicks in, it's so unexpected, and it makes the piece sparkle so much. Why the synthesizer?
Yeah, I work a lot with synthesizers because it gives me like textures that I can't really get on the piano, and it kind of just unfolds a whole dimension. And I love throwing something that's quirky and unexpected for the listeners and myself. Actually, when I'm composing, sometimes I don't like intend for that to happen, but it happens. I'm like, oh no, that belongs in the piece, and so that's what happened in this one.
I love that she's so self-aware of how magical her pieces are. Sometimes you can get a bit blind to your own art when you've created for so long like she has. But she is fully aware of the effect of every single little choice she's made has. And I think that's very impressive. And I think she is a true artist.
This leads us to my first news offering to the lawn. For new listeners, I offer news pieces for our queen judge to judge me and the piece by, to be fair. And the first piece we have today, to be fair, I do think you'll like this. Our first piece today is by Andrew Cunningham from The Mail in South Cumbria. Westmoreland Home Care helps pianist 94 fulfill his dream. They are helping him realize his dream of finally releasing an album. He first played the piano at the age of 8, and this new project will be raising money for St. John's Hospice. He wants to call the album Tony's Musical Memories, and he already has a list of tracks in mind, including the Morecambe and Wise song Bring Me Sunshine, Night and Day by Cole Porter, and The Sunny Side of the Street by Dorothy Fields and Jimmy McHugh. This came about because a video of him playing the piano was posted on TikTok. It received a lot of views and a lot of likes, and he now gets to fulfill this dream at the age of 94.
When I first heard it, I was like, oh, another young person who went viral and is getting their career set. Great for them, but there's a lot of very talented people that don't get that, and it's not exactly an even playing field. It's just very randomly based, It's not entirely or much based on merit, it's just kind of chance in it. But when I realized that it's actually a very old person getting their dream received, I think that's really sweet. That warms my heart a little bit. That warms this queen's heart. And he is invited to play in the court.
Yay!
Yay!
What are you giving that, Maddie? Are you giving it a woo?
Oh, win. Absolutely. Come to the Queen's Court.
Woo! Onwards with Belle. A lot of what the general public is mostly acquainted with is very old classical pieces. I think if you ask the majority of the general public if they knew young composers, they really wouldn't be able to quote or give you a name. And I do love it seeing new composers having that boldness, new artists having that boldness to put new classical music, so to speak, out there into the world. When you're creating a piece, how do you know that that's something where it's like, actually, I think this is something special that's really going to resonate with audiences, something new and something fresh that they're going to really latch onto?
I think with myself and anything I create, first and foremost, I just do it, I guess. I don't try to overthink it, because I think when you create for the purpose of meeting the needs of others, then it's not, you lose that genuineness, I guess. And so for me, it's always been from the heart, and like some tunes, as a result, do better than others because I don't have control over how everything's received. But I do know that if I am genuine with my intention and honest with what I have to say, then it will speak to certain people. And then, once a piece leaves me, it belongs to listeners. It's not mine anymore. And so it's up to others to decide what they want to do with it.
What are your first memories with the piano? Can you take us back to very, very young Belle picking up the piano for the first time?
Oh, yeah. So I think I was 5 when I started, and I just remember kind of being really overwhelmed by the vastness of the instrument. Like, I think for a little 5-year-old, like 88 keys look gigantic. And I just loved, I remember running my hand on the keyboards and kind of going from the top notes to the bottom notes. And it's the vastness and the accessibility as well, because, piano is, you can make sound from it quite easily. Compared to like instruments like trumpet, where you gotta like invest in the embouchure and all that. And for me, it was a very immediate instrument that spoke both ways. Yeah, that's my first memories of it.
Who introduced you? Was it a parent? Was it school?
I think it was my mum just enrolled me through. Like, there was no particular reason at all.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like so random.
I think that's lovely. An unassuming beginning, but it turns into a whole life, really.
And I love that conviction from her of making sure that it's just coming from a genuine place. Like, it's so easy to say, but more and more today, like we talk about this between us all the time, right? Where it's, you can tell that a project's being made because of the shareholders, or because of audience trends, or because of social media
so
trends.
easily spot it these days.
And yet she's kind of stayed with her conviction.
Woo! We love
lovely.
artists like that. We keep listening to artists like that.
Exactly. And you know who else has been following their heart and doing what they want? It's the finalists of the 28th Annual Guthman Music Instrument Competition. This is reported by Andrew Paul at Popular Science. There is a competition every year, creators from around the world assembled at Georgia Tech in Atlanta to demonstrate their unique, one-of-a-kind musical instruments.
Ooh.
There are lots of winners. I have pulled out a couple of my favorites to present to you today, Maddie. One of them is the Demon Box. That's what it's called, the Demon Box. It is a device that turns the invisible electromagnetic world into an instrument of scientific seance. Using a grid of 33 inductors, it captures frequencies from everyday electronics like phones and drills and converts them into 3-channel audio. Another example is the Fiddle Henge. This is a sculpture mounting 4 green violins around a bass drum. Instead of human hands, a spinning disc acts as an infinite bow, which tilts the instrument to switch strings. It blends 3D printed tech with antique automata, generating everything from stuttering mechanical rhythms to endless meditative drones. And my last offering to you is the, I think it said Lethelium. It's built around a bicycle wheel. It's a 24-string instrument. It looks like an alien artifact, apparently. It spins on a cymbal stand, allowing musicians to strike, pluck, or bow its spokes to create sounds ranging from a harp to a steel drum. For your judgment, Queen Emperor.
Do any of them sound good?
That I do not know.
That's what I want to know.
Right, okay.
Because I'm always impressed by a fantastic instrument player. Case in point, my awe at the Hans Zimmer concert, right? Seeing all these incredibly talented people adept in this creation of centuries ago, But the bicycle wheel that can be a drum or a violin, I'm skeptical.
Right, so it's not just innovation for innovation's sake for you. You need to feel that it sounds amazing as well.
Yeah, I want to see purpose, because
Right.
otherwise it reminds me of abstract art, where in some cases it feels like someone just painted 3 big lines and then decided the profound meaning afterwards. Sometimes
Okay,
I know this might be controversial. Sometimes I believe and know that abstract art is actually very thought out and profound, but in other cases I'm not impressed. So I'm skeptical about this. Did they just create something wacky because it would be funny and it's not been created before? Or is there more purpose in that it actually creates a new unique sound? I would like to know.
Right.
So at this
Okay.
time, I'm giving this a mid because I am unsure.
Okay. Our first mid of the day.
Survive power, Dad!
Onwards with Belle. What drove you to stick with it? I think a lot of kids have those memories of, you start out with it and then practice is frustrating for a lot of kids and eventually that puts children off. What made you want to stay with it and turn it into a career like you have?
For me, because in my childhood, I moved around quite a bit and I changed a lot of schools. I think I went to like 6 different schools in my 12-year education
Wow.
span, which was kind of like, for some people, it's very okay, but for me, it was quite hard for me to keep
Right.
friends actually, because we just
Mm-hmm.
kept moving. And for me, then the piano was the only constant thing that was really in my life. And so it became like a very natural way of communicating that just I would not have thought anything like else that I would be doing. So I knew, I think by the time I was a teenager, that the piano belongs in my life, probably like forever, and it's like an extension of me as a identity.
Did you take up composition as a separate study, or because you talked about your improvisational process, was it actually something that you just kind of slid into as an extension of being a pianist?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I think I feel like we've had quite similar training. I went into Royal Academy as a pianist as well.
Oh,
Um,
amazing.
yeah, and instead of taking composition, I fell into this kind of like working with technology, so capturing field recordings, so quite
Mm.
the avant-garde side of it and multimedia. And then after I graduated, I fell into improvising with world music musicians. So especially like musicians from China and Korea. And then I was doing like really kind of like niche kind of
Mm.
avant-garde improvisation, like slightly crazy, slightly formless, but really like raw and emotional and off the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that went on for a couple of years, and then eventually I settled down, I guess, where I started to listen for more form. And I'm actually
Right.
self-taught for a lot of it. I've had kind of theoretical training from my kind of background, but in terms of like creating music and production, it's all through listening to other people's records. I listen to a lot of like jazz pianists like Keith Jarrett as well,
Oh,
and to
cool.
analyze what they're doing. But yeah, it's largely kind of I invest a lot of times listening and then teaching myself how to do things.
That's amazing. What instrument would you want to learn? And
Mm.
then what instrument is just your favorite, irrespective of whether or not you'd want to learn it?
Oh gosh. So well, the piano is my favorite. It's like
Yeah.
full stop. Um, Piano, and by piano, I guess like keyboards as well, synthesizers. For me, they
Right.
fall into the same group.
Mhm.
Um, I really want to learn how to sing like
Okay.
properly. Yeah, I feel like I don't know how to use my voice, and I just feel like the voice is such a natural and like
Mm.
powerful a tool that
Mm.
actually exists in everyone's body, but it's like
Mm.
you gotta really draw it out to be a good singer.
You know, that surprised me because this whole interview, I've been thinking she has such an amazing speaking voice. I would listen to a book read by her, you know? She has this identity, right? She's already
Mm.
discovered herself. She already knows herself and what she wants to do, which is fantastic. And not everyone um, gets to achieve that at her age, you know?
To my next news offering to you, Queen Emperor, and to you, our dear listeners. This isn't related. There's no segue I can do to this, really. The Cannes Film Festival has been running. People talk a lot about the Palme d'Or. Who's won the Palme d'Or? What films take the top prize? But did you know there's a more important award up for grabs? It's the Palme Dog Award. That's right. The Palme Dog Award exists. It was founded in 2001 by film journalist Toby Rose with a mission to give equal celebration to canines at Cannes, as well as their human co-stars. This was reported by Louise Dixon at the Associated Press. Le Perra this year won the Palme Dog Award. They had a lovely celebration On the Cannes beachfront, there were journalists, dog lovers, plenty of dogs. Louise writes this beautifully. She says the sound of barking was interspersed with the clink of wine glasses as eager pups posed for the cameras and socialized with their canine pals. La Perra is Spanish for female dog. It follows a solitary woman and her bond with an abandoned puppy, Yuri. They utilized two little dogs for the film, Yuri and little Tormenta. Tormenta played puppy Yuri. They were both rescues, and they both have their new homes after making the film as well.
Oh, great. What breed is La Perra?
I do not know. I don't know the breed, but yeah, the Palme Dog, that's the important. Who needs the Palme d'Or? You want the Palme Dog.
Well, that is a win for me because I think dogs should win more awards.
If you had to award any fictional dog of your choice an award, so like obviously not the Palme Dog because, you know, say Scooby-Doo hasn't premiered at Cannes, but if we could give them like a golden bone award, what fictional dog would you give it to?
I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Marley. That seems pretty obvious to me.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, bless.
Oh, runner-up to Einstein in Back to the Future. That dog travels through time. Where's
Great
Einstein's award? Einstein the dog, I mean.
Yeah. I would give it to... I love Snoopy. I know Snoopy's...
Aww.
Well, yeah. Snoopy. Or maybe Pluto. Another... That dog puts up with a lot from Mickey and Friends. There's a dog called Hachi who has a statue in Tokyo because he was so loyal to his master when his master passed away. His master was a professor, I think, and I think they did a film about this. And he waited every day for his master to come back, and he's a symbol of loyalty. So a golden bone for Hachi.
I just realised who my true number one is. Doug! From Up!
Oh!
He's my number one.
Oh, wait, I give you one more offering, and I feel
Okay.
silly that I didn't think of this. Bluey!
Oh my word, how did we not think of Bluey?
Bluey!
I
didn't think of Bluey! I'm so sorry, Bluey and Bingo. I'm so sorry.
Wow. Actually, I want to give a special award to Muffin because I think as a kid I was quite similar to Muffin.
Oh, bless.
Annoying
Oh.
and greedy.
What are we giving the Palme Dog, Maddie?
Oh, total win, yeah.
Total win. This is my one-figure dancing for the future. Fact about. What are your hopes for both your work in the future, but also the future of the classical music scene? How do you hope to see it change or shift?
Oh, classical music scene, I am optimistic about it. I know, like, sometimes people talk about, you know, you gotta fight for certain things. But the way I see it is like, I think we should embrace what's already currently happening. That there's so many people doing amazing, amazing things. And sometimes I feel like classical music is fueled by this feeling of like, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to save it. But I don't know if we need to, like, I understand what people mean when they say that, but I will also feel like it's already currently happening, that the change is currently happening. And there's like a lot of amazing, amazing young musicians, composers, even writers, like people who write and blogs and vlog about classical music, who are just changing the way things are done for the better as well. So I'm optimistic about it. I think as artists, I think we will benefit from staying centered and grounded, creating what we want to create, and just know that everything's going to be fine, as opposed to kind of, there's been amazing, amazing movements in highlighting composers and musicians that are women, either from the history and present, that are also non-binary as well. Like amazing work that's being done right now about it. There are also artists doing amazing things like using social media to really spread kind of classical music in through the lens of mainstream as well. Like there's public people that don't play or they don't necessarily kind of usually go to concerts that are now familiar with classical pieces. And there are amazing composers doing really cool things by writing for movies and soundtracks.
Yeah.
That's had impact on people on so many levels. Like you hear these pieces when you're walking past the train station. I think it's really optimistic what's happening at the moment.
Yay to being optimistic. I know like some younger composers that are fantastic and they're going strong. Like I've talked about Lambert on the podcast before. He's a fantastic pianist and composer. I think classical music will always survive. Music trends come and go. We went from discovering the synthesizer to doing a lot of, actually, to be honest, I'm going to get into, if I want to get into really specific subgenres, this will take forever. But we've evolved so much music wise, but what has never truly changed is classical music with the rawness of instruments like piano that we love to hear. That will always be appreciated and that will always survive. So I agree with her optimism.
Well, something else that isn't going to die anytime soon? Cheese rolling. This is from Sky. The Gloucestershire cheese rolling contest's most successful ever competitor has been beaten by a German YouTuber. World record holder Chris Anderson, 38, was pipped to the finish line by Tom Kopke, I think that's how you say it, 24, in the death-defying annual race, which sees contestants chase an 8-pound double Gloucester cheese down the steep Cooper's Hill in Brockworth. Mr. Kopke said, "This year's cheese will taste the sweetest of all the cheeses I have won." Recent hot weather had made it firmer and more dangerous for the competitors, given that temperatures had soared to past 30 degrees in recent days. This year's installment gripped fans after Mr. Anderson came out of retirement. Following a challenge by Mr. Kopke, Mr. Anderson from Brockworth won the competition 23 times before in the past. Cheese rolling's not dying anytime soon. Tom Kopke's making sure it's staying alive.
Oh, I feel bad for him, but I mean, it was a fair competition and he lost. So
there we go.
The failure's there.
Every legend can be defeated.
When you say you're retiring, you need to stick to it. Because if someone tries to yank you out of retirement, they're trying to destroy your grace. You reached your finish. They're scared and they're trying to use you to win. I don't know why I'm getting so serious about this. I'm thinking of things right now. But yeah.
This is a war from Maddie Armstrong to all athletes. Do not allow yourself to be pulled out of retirement.
Because he got destroyed in the cheese rolling. If he'd have just stood his ground and stayed retired, he wouldn't have been destroyed. He would have kept his legacy. So, he failed in more than one way.
Are you giving this a hard failure?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
If I'd won 23 consecutive cheese rolling competitions, had a glorious retirement, with grace, and then, someone challenged me that I underestimated, and then I failed miserably, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably have to run away to Iceland or something.
Would you not feel proud of the fact that you've had a great legacy even though you failed anyway? No. Or no? You'd be like,
no. I'd be miserable. I ruined it with my arrogance. I failed.
I feel like maybe we should all be grateful that Maddie Armstrong has not become a professional athlete, because the roller coaster ride you take us on, Maddie.
Oh, I destroy you all. My strategies. You'd never see them coming.
Well, it's that time, everyone.
Da-da-da.
Off the lawn, but on to...
Did you know? You've all been doing courtesy wrong. When I went to...
Huh?
Did you get that?
Courtesy?
Yeah, you've been doing it wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, here in the UK, we're kind of free to do whatever we want and no one cares about anything. But in my second trip to Korea, I learnt in depth the details of Songli, which is their culture of, and let me pull up the actual specific words. La 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 la. Their culture of sincerity and goodwill. Now, I was fully aware of this before. I mean, maybe fully was a word lightly thrown in just now because I'm about to explain how I wasn't fully aware. But I was aware of it before. And with my good friends that I have spent time with during my stay in Korea, I've learnt more in depth how far this culture goes and the part that foreign people play in it, foreign to Korea, play in it is much larger than you would think. When you go to Korea, you are as much of a part in this culture as the natives to that country, and everything you do shapes the way they might see you and other foreigners in the future. It's a very strong social culture, and it's good to respect it. So this sincerity and goodwill, what's it all about? Well, it's about not just taking, it's also giving back. When you're in Korea, this is a culture where you might be surprised by how many good things people do to you, and they'll be very earnest in that it's just a gift and that you can take it, but you must remember you can't just brush it off and forget about it. You can't just take and forget. And I think this is a good practice in the whole world, really. It's about giving back, not just taking. One of my favorite parts about the culture is that they're so empathetic that you can literally leave your phone on a table in a cafe, leave the cafe, wander around for 2 hours, come back and your phone is there. That's nuts. I personally, when I was at Incheon Airport, going back home, I saw this very thing. I saw a phone on a seating area in one of the terminals, and it had just been left there, and I wandered around back maybe a couple hours later, and it was still in the same spot. No one had moved it. You know, there were people sat around it, but no one bothered at all. And it's this culture that I think is really beautiful. And there's two other aspects of it, of the etiquette, which are very lovely. And there's the nunchi and the yomchi. The yomchi is about sincerity, of course. It's about integrity. It's about not just communicating with someone when you want to get something out of them. It's about being sincere in your friendship. Nunchi is about reading the room. Now, as a neurodivergent person, I'm terrible at reading the room. Please tell me the room.
No, you read it differently. You're not terrible. You just read it differently.
So once I learned about this, I was like, panic. Oh no, this culture. How do I move around it? But yeah, so if that worries you a little bit because you're not so good at the nunchi, people are kind. You know, it's not against you. You can always communicate, and as long as you're sincere, you know, I don't think neurodivergence stops you from having the yomchi. That's the sincerity of the heart. So as long as you have that, they'll understand you perfectly. And I think all of this Songli teaches us that we should be more like that as a whole, like a lot of cultures. Obviously, no country is perfect, no culture is perfect, but some places do things a bit better than others. And on my recent trip to Korea, I learned that that was particularly strong in this country, this kindness, this mutual kindness that they have for everyone. And if you want to be a part of the culture, all you have to do is give back.
That's a lesson for everywhere, isn't it? Especially with how some people kind of treat going to other countries where it's not just that the place you're going to is like your playground. Just because you paid to travel there and like paid to stay there. Like obviously enjoy yourself, but it's not your private, I can do whatever and behave however, and you know, it's that mutual thing you were talking about.
I think everywhere you go, right, you have to do at least a little bit of research into how things are there and learn how you can be respectful as a tourist there, because it's not your place. It's kind of like if someone came into your house and they just walked all over the carpet with their shoes on without asking, and they left dirt on the carpet. Well, you wouldn't want them back into your house again, would you? Because they clearly don't care about your carpet. So it's all about just respect for others, really.
It's also kitchen time. What are you exchanging, Maddie?
Okay, so also career trip based. I'm going to exchange caricatures. I have been to this place twice before in Seoul. It is Acorn Caricature. They've got multiple shops around, but my favorite is in Ikseondong, my favorite little Hanok shopping street. And this is the version of Maddie with short hair.
Mazza's so cute!
You
could be your own cartoon character!
They always draw me very kindly, I will say.
Sorry for my shouty voice. That's so adorable! Oh, I love it!
I'm exchanging, getting a caricature done, and oh my god, this is reminding me of when, you know how I once exchanged the Sakambaspis, the very old fish. It's actually called the Sakabambaspis. This whole time I'm not dyslexic, but this whole time I was just skipping over a few letters. Sakabambaspis is a way funnier name. Why wasn't I saying it correctly? Sometimes you can just forget a few letters. Anyway, tangent aside, I recommend getting your caricature done, and specifically if you happen to be in Korea, or if by any chance they have places not in Korea, but I don't think they do, go to Acorn Caricature. They're a very good place. The illustrators there are always very friendly, and they're not weirded out if you smile at them constantly for like 5 minutes straight.
I will contribute in also the name of good vibes. Clickers!
Oh my word! Where's mine? Clickers! Wait a second. I got gifted one of these.
Wait, don't tell me you made a custom clicker in Korea.
No,
did you actually?
Not custom, but I got gifted it by a new friend I made. Oh my word. So I made friends with my hairdresser in Korea, who gave me these lovely layers, by the way. And I invited her to hang out because I just wanted to make some friends. And we hung out, and she gave me this one as a present. These are huge
clickers.
Now.
Clickers, man. I was at Comic-Con, as mentioned, and I was like, you know what? I bet if I'm going to find just the coolest clickers anywhere, it's going to be in Comic-Con. And I got home with 5 clickers.
5.
This one it's got Pokemon on it. This one is a Charmander clicker. So calming.
The joy of a chunky keyboard.
We can just do clicker ASMR if this is what you're into.
Genuinely, we could annoy you for hours.
I was at home and I started doing the clicking, and Mum was like, I know it's calming for you. It's not calming for other people.
Aww.
So I was like, sorry. Clickers. If you have anxiety, or if you need like sensory things, clickers are amazing. So go get yourself a clicker.
Absolutely.
There's so many great ones out there. It's almost the end. Belle's got a lovely sign off for us. Let's give it a listen.
One thing that I tell myself is that you only get to live once. Lives are quite short, but it's also long enough. So just do whatever you want that brings you the most joy in the way that you want it to be.
Only profound things with Belle Chen.
Put on sunscreen. Remember, one application at the beginning of the day is not enough. you have to top up throughout the day. Because some people do that. They're like, oh, I put it on in the morning, so I'm just going to sunbathe until 8 p.m. Please don't top up your sunscreen. You got to top it up.
When you go places, learn the things.
The lovely Belle Chen can be found on all streaming platforms. Her latest single, Breezy, is out now. Go and check it out. Have you not heard Maddie's endorsement? Go and check her music out. You will not regret it. Thank you very much to my lovely host, Maddie Armstrong, for joining us, for being back here in the UK whilst it's
I'm
boiling.
not too glad about... Anyway. Bring the aircon!
And thank you to our lovely listeners. We hope you have aircon wherever you are, for joining us on another episode of Falling Upwards. Have a good one. See you next time.
Thank you. I'm going to go stick my head in the fridge now. Bye!